What's going on, YouTube fam? It's your girl Natalie back with another video, and you know, of course, I'm keeping it positive, keeping it healthy, and I'm bringing my journey to y'all. All right, so this video is going to talk about the last 6 months of my journey, and unfortunately I didn't have the best results. I struggled a lot, so I'm not going to be able to say, hey, this is how much weight I lost in this amount of time and this is how fast I did it. That's not what happened. I actually struggled a lot, but this is going to be about my struggles, and it's also going to be about how I was able to finally get to the point where I was able to change my body, even though the scale wasn't showing me that I had lost weight, but pictures were showing me that I had lost weight. And also how I finally lost about another 8 pounds. But before we get into it, please make sure you give this video a like. Please make sure you're also subscribed and hit the notification bell so that you'll know every time I post a video. And also know that my videos will be posting on Sundays and Wednesdays and the occasional Friday. And this is a Friday week, so make sure you hit that bell so that you know what's going on with me and my channel and you stay up to date with my videos. With that said, let's get into it. Alrighty, so we're going to go back to February. I do have my notes. So I am going to be looking down, so bear with me. Alrighty guys, I have my notes and I have a lot of stuff to get through, so hopefully this video won't be too long. I'm going to try to be as quick and concise as possible because I do tend to ramble. Alrighty, back to February. Okay, so last I left off, I had lost 200. I had gotten down to 221 pounds because I lost the extra 4 pounds after having the flu. So fast forward into February, the flu actually kind of messed me up emotionally. I don't know if anyone else has ever had that experience, but I went from doing my thing in January and going hard, going to the gym, working out, and then I get the flu and I get kind of into this like kind of mild depression. I wouldn't call it like a full-blown depression, but it was like a mild depression. Like I just couldn't get myself motivated. You know, like I was going through the motions. I was probably doing okay eating and exercising. I don't remember specifically, but I do remember that I was like struggling emotionally to get myself back into a place where I was like ready to go hard, to go home. Like I just was like, I couldn't get myself there. So what happened was a friend of mine invited me to a meditation ritual that she was doing. And I went just to support my friend. I wasn't into meditation at that time. I'm still barely into meditation right now. So I went to that meditation ritual to support my friend, and it actually really helped me. It was a really positive, soothing, calming environment, and I was able to get out a whole bunch of like negative energy and negative feelings. And it was just it was exactly what I needed. Like I thought I was going to support her, but I went and I got so much out of it. So after that, I was able to kind of like snap back into where I was a month ago and get my life together. I actually created a challenge for myself at the end of February that involved me. I was supposed to make sure I drank apple cider vinegar every single day, a green smoothie every single day, work out every single day. I don't even know why I thought I was going to work out every single day, but I was supposed to work out every single day. And what else? Oh, and I wanted to up my water and veggie intake because even though I already know what foods not to eat, I definitely was slacking on the veggie department. So I definitely was like trying to make sure that I up my veggie intake and of course my water. So that's what was going on in February. And I didn't weigh myself at all in the beginning or throughout the month of February because I already kind of felt like I probably gained weight. But after doing the challenge, I was at 221 at the end of January, kind of going into February. At the end of the challenge, I only did it for 1 week. I was supposed to do it for 2, I only did it for 1 week. But I did do it for a whole week. And by the end of the challenge, after I weighed myself, I was 223-ish, point something. And so that tells me I probably definitely gained some weight earlier in the month of February, but I kind of evened it out and balanced it out, and I was only up 2 pounds, and I was okay with that. I was like, all right. March, I have no documentations. I don't know what was going on in March. I do know that I was getting kind of like, I want to call it desperate, but desperate and kind of like motivated to step up my game and so I could see some results. So I started adding in some evening workouts. Now, I said it in previous videos that it's kind of tough for me to work out after work because it's a long day and I have a lot of traveling. So the fact that I was like, I want to add in 1 or 2 evening workouts just to like amp it up a little bit. And I was still doing my YouTube workouts in the morning and heading to the gym on the weekend. So I was doing a lot of working out.
All right, guys, because I really don't know what was going on with me in March, I don't really have any pictures. I didn't put anything into my fitness pal. So my best guess is that I was actually doing all that heavy working out in the end of February and the very beginning of March. And then, not gonna lie, I was dating someone and I was probably distracted and started to slack off. So I believe that is what my March was looking like. All right, let's get back to what I was saying.
But I just personally didn't feel confident. You know, like I didn't see myself looking differently and I didn't feel confident that the scale was going to reflect something positive. So I was just kind of like, I don't want to know. So I didn't weigh myself at all in March. And then fast forward to April, and that's when COVID happened. And that threw everybody for a loop, right? So I stopped working. I actually got the virus, and I pretty much like when everything started, I got it right in the beginning of April, and I was lucky enough to have super minimal symptoms. I had a fever and chills for literally just 1 day, and then I was fine. And then I just, for the rest of the time that I was symptomatic-ish, I just noticed that I had some like, I was just weak, you know, I just going up a flight of steps, I felt like noticeably like this is difficult and it's kind of hard to sleep, hard to breathe, you know? Like I would get winded going up one flight of steps when I had just been working out and hitting the gym and doing all this crazy stuff where I'm just like, I know that one flight of steps is not going to get me winded. This is ridiculous. So that was really my only symptoms. And I was like that for about 2 to 3 weeks. Obviously I stayed home. I didn't go out. I didn't go anywhere. It was really, 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 really tough for me to get food at that time because, you know, everybody was like, I couldn't go out. And then like all the delivery services were, I couldn't get a delivery date to get groceries delivered for anything. So I kind of just had to eat what was already in the house. And, you know, being sick, and I guess like, you know, like I told you before, when I had the flu, I got a little depressed afterwards. So the same thing happened again when I got COVID. Even though my symptoms were mild and I felt perfectly fine for the most part, especially if I was just chilling, watching Netflix and relaxing, I didn't feel sick at all. The only time I felt some type of way is if I tried to go up a flight of steps. And that was the only thing that kind of made me realize something's off, you know. Other than that, I felt fine. I was binging Netflix all day and, you know, eating junk because that's what was in the house. I couldn't get groceries delivered. And I also didn't really care to try to get healthy food delivered to my house. It was like desperate times, desperate measures. And I was like, I'm going to eat whatever I want. You know, I also still had plenty of appetite. I did not lose my appetite at all. Till the end of the month, I was finally able to use Postmates and get food delivered, groceries delivered. But what did I put on my grocery list? Entenmann's, muffins, and cereal, and just a whole bunch of carby food. Like I definitely was eating terrible the whole month of April. I kind of had it in my head. I was like, I'll get back on my diet. I'll get back on my healthy lifestyle when this COVID stuff goes away. And at the time, we were still talking. I live in New York, so we were still talking about opening up schools April 20th. So I'm thinking, when everything opens back up and we get back to normal, I'll get back on my regular scheduled programming. Clearly that did not happen. Clearly this is a little bit of a longer situation than I had anticipated. So all of April, I kind of just did whatever I wanted to. I was a little bit depressed. So I was drinking alcohol, I was eating carbs, and I was just kind of doing whatever I wanted or whatever. But then we're getting into May and I'm starting to like freak out and panic because I know that I've eaten terrible for an entire month. I'm like, how much weight did I gain? I'm honestly, in my head, I was like, not gonna be surprised if I was back to 240 something, you know? And I was hoping I wasn't, but I was prepared to see 240 something on the scale. Luckily, I gained 8 pounds from the 223 that I was in February, at the end of February. So I gained 8 pounds and I was at 231 at the end of April going into May. So May, I start to finally get my act together and I'm trying to figure out, well, what can I do? So previously I had been doing the 16/8 intermittent fasting before all this stuff happened. So I was like, let me go into a 24-hour fasting, intermittent fasting schedule. I would be fasting for 20 hours a day and eating for only a 4-hour window. And my 4-hour window was 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And I was eating late, just like I am now, because I didn't go to sleep until the wee hours in the morning. So it didn't feel like a big deal or a problem. It still doesn't, but I do need to fix that. Anyway, so I started doing the 24 intermittent fasting schedule and also going on walks. But the problem is, because I had gotten myself used to overeating now in the whole month of April, I was eating all day, eating junk. My body was no longer used to fasting in general. So now I was combating that hunger feeling by overeating and overstuffing myself during my 4 hours. And when I tell you I was overstuffing myself, I was like full, like, so I would let myself get to the point where I was so full, I would be full for hours. But it worked, because I would be full for hours and then I would be fine or satisfied up until about 2 or 3 hours before my eating window. So I was okay. Unfortunately, that was a terrible idea and was a terrible recipe for me trying to lose weight. I wasn't even calculating calories. I was just kind of eating in a way that I thought that, oh, this is not so bad. And now, I eat a lot of keto type of foods just to keep my carbs low. So I was doing that and thinking I was okay, right? But I wasn't really calculating my calories and I wasn't calculating my carbs specific. Like, I wasn't being like intentional about it. I was just kind of like guesstimating in my head and thinking that it was okay. And it was not, because I did that for, I don't know, like 2 weeks, a week or so. Man, I wish I had my calendar, because I did not write this part down. But yeah, I did that for a week or 2 weeks and I noticed that I did not lose any weight at all. So I was a little bit frustrated, because I felt like, okay, well, I'm doing this intermittent fasting. I'm walking every day and I'm like speed walking. I'm not walking slow. I'm like putting some pep in my step when I walk. So I was kind of frustrated and disappointed that I didn't, I didn't lose the weight. So then I kind of got into like desperate mode. And while I do not think what I did next was a terrible idea, I think my intentions behind doing it was bad. And like, let me tell you what I did. So I had started watching a whole bunch of YouTube videos on water fasting. And I seen a couple of videos of people doing water fasting for 10 plus days. I actually saw a video of a young lady who did her water fast for like, I think almost a month. I want to say like 25 days, 28 days, somewhere in there, that she did her water fast for. And of course, if all you're doing is drinking water for basically a month, you're going to lose a ton of weight, right? And I don't necessarily disagree with fasting or water fasting, but for me, it came from a very desperate place. And it was like, I don't want to say it wasn't a good idea. I definitely got the health benefits from it. There's a lot of health benefits from water fasting. I did my water fast for almost an entire, almost 6 days, but ended up being 140 hours, because I did 5 full days and then I broke my fast at 6 o'clock, which is my normal time that I would break my fast on the 6th day. So it was 140 hours total. It had its ups and downs the whole time that I was water fasting. And I'm definitely going to do a separate video on specifically my experience with the water fasting. But yeah, it had its ups and downs and there's pros and cons to it. And I definitely felt like I got a lot of health benefits from doing it. But like I said, my intention behind doing it, I was a little bit desperate to lose the weight. I was feeling stuck and I just needed something to happen. And so I went with water fasting. Un- Unfortunately, I was able to, well, not unfortunately, fortunately first, let's talk about the positives. Fortunately, throughout my water fast, after 6 days of water fasting, I was able to lose, dun, 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 12 pounds. And that put me down to 219. I actually hit 219. I got out of the 220s. That did not last. That did not last but 2 seconds. So the first day when I broke my fast on whatever that day was, I don't know. I think it was a Friday. Let's go with Friday. So when I broke my fast that Friday after I did 5, basically almost 6 days of water fasting, all I had was an omelet. I think it was a veggie omelet with maybe some sausage, some turkey sausage on the side, and I also had some bone broth. So I kept it like pretty keto. So I was able to, that's how I was able to lose another pound and get down to the 219, because I think I had lost 11 pounds before I broke my fast. And so that extra day of keeping it keto helped me get to 219, because that was really what I wanted to see. I just want to get out of 220. That's been my goal forever, to get out of the 220. So that's why I did keto, just so I could like get down to 219. I already figured it wasn't going to last forever. I knew I was going to gain some weight back because I was going to be eating and going back to normal. So after I finished my water fast, that's when I was able to start OMAD, because when you go from not eating for full 24 hours a day for almost a week, it's not hard to go from not eating for 24 hours and then not eating for like 22, 23 hours and then having one big meal and you call it a day and you do the same thing the next day. After the water fast, that was one of the pros for sure, was that I was able to easily get into OMAD and it wasn't a struggle. It wasn't difficult. I didn't really weigh myself because I knew that it was going to not be good. So I didn't weigh myself until, all right, I have a weight here for the end of June. So we'll come back to that. In June, that's when I started hitting the track, and I would go with my little cousin and we would walk the track, and eventually we started walking and running, and I started motivating myself to go by myself and do some walking and running, but I was inconsistent. I was probably maybe doing it twice a week, and the other 2 days I wasn't really doing much. And as far as eating, I was doing OMAD, but I was probably like going a little nuts with the carbs. So I wasn't really seeing results in the beginning half of June. I didn't really start taking the OMAD and working out seriously until the end of June. And this is where my results really come in, from the end of June through July. All right. So basically I gained back all the weight that I lost from my water fast. Not all of it. Sorry. By June 28th, the end of June, I had weighed in at 227.9, but I had already started doing my OMAD, taking it seriously and exercising regularly. So I don't know how much I weighed before I got serious about it. But by the end of June, I was 227.9. And then I continued. I got really serious and I continued. I had started doing the freshly dinners, which was really, really great because it helped me make sure that I wasn't eating too many calories or carbs, and I could really like track it better, even though I wasn't tracking my calories or my carbs like specifically in like my fitness pal or anything like that, but I was like mentally able to like just make sure I wasn't going too overboard. And because it's a packaged meal and all the information is on the back, I really just had to calculate how many calories and carbs and stuff was going into my smoothies that I would drink with it or whatever. And I also would have I didn't mention this in that video because I wasn't eating it at that time, but for my sweet tooth, I was eating the super fat keto cookies, which are amazing. I love them. They are so good, especially if you have a sweet tooth. They have very low carbs. The package itself, you eat the whole package of cookies, is not a lot, but it does have 300 calories in it. But because I was eating once a day, and my smoothie at that time, if I was having the cookies, I would actually make a smaller cup of smoothie. Eventually the cookies ran out and I didn't restock. So then that's when I started making larger smoothies. Yeah, so from June and July, I was going hard, basically. I started working out every day. I was doing a YouTube video. I was consistently doing, for the most part, the Koboku Fitness Workout that I had linked in my last video. Actually, I'm going to put my last video in the cards above, and I'm going to link her video in the description box. So yeah, so I was doing Koboku Fitness, that workout pretty much every day, or four days a week, I would say. I was doing it 4 days a week. And on top of that, I was doing basketball with my little cousin every Wednesday for a while. So we would play basketball every Wednesday. And pretty much 5 to 6 days a week, I was walking the track at least 2 miles. So, and if I wasn't walking the track, I was walking and running the track, because there were days where I was like, you know what? I want to run. So I would like work out twice kind of that day. So yeah, I was doing a lot. So I was doing OMAD and I was working out like twice a day minimum. So I was really getting it in. I was super motivated until mid-July, and I got my period. Or it was not even, I didn't even have my period yet. It was the week before, and I just started feeling bogged down and tired. And I will say one thing is, I was not getting anywhere near enough sleep when I was on OMAD and doing all that stuff. I just couldn't sleep. Like, I would sleep for 4 hours, and if I lay in bed long enough, and by long enough I mean like another 3 hours, I'll eventually fall back asleep, but then I'd fall back asleep for like another 4 hours. And that's pretty much wasting my entire day. So once I realized like that's what was going on, that's what was happening, and I didn't like starting my day at like 4 in the afternoon. So I would just kind of wake up when I woke up instead of trying to go back to sleep, because I knew I wouldn't fall back asleep for like 3 hours. So instead of trying to fall back asleep, I would just wake up when I wake up, and just start my day. So I was getting like 4 to 5 hours of sleep for like 3-4 weeks consistently, and I was tired. So when my period came around that week before, I felt it. all that sleep that I wasn't getting, like, it came back on me. So I was tired the week before, and I just pretty much slowed down everything. I kept up with my eating, but I was not working out. I don't remember if I was still going to the track, but for 2 consistent weeks, I was not working out. Like, I was just, not in the mood. I was tired. I had cramps. I had headaches. Like, I just was like not in the mood. I wasn't feeling it. So for 2 full weeks, I did not do anything. And then 2 weeks later, July 24th was my last workout up until 2 days ago on Monday. Well, y'all saw my video for my 1-year anniversary. I started working out again, but I kept up with my eating, obviously. And then I had some great results that I wasn't expecting. And I have a video on how I lost 8 pounds in 8 days. And then I have another video about how I felt about losing 8 pounds in 8 days. So check those videos out. They will be in the cards. That second video, I don't know how long I'm going to keep it up. I don't really care for the video, but I do appreciate all the love that I got from people from that video. I'm just kind of like, I look crazy in this video. I don't like it. But a lot of you gave me so much love and support after that video that I'm like, I don't want to take it down, because maybe it is helping people, So I'm not going to take it down yet, but I can't promise that it's going to be up that much longer. We'll see. Alrighty, so I think that I covered everything. That is how I got to where I'm at. I'm going to post this picture right here of me wearing this pink shirt. And that's when I really realized that even though the scale isn't changing, my body is definitely changing. And I attribute that mostly to the Koboku Fitness Workout that I was doing, that I was consistently doing. And I was playing basketball and hitting the track. And I was being very consistent with my workouts. Plus, I was doing OMAD. And I think that combination of like going hard with my working out and doing OMAD, it really pushed my body to get where it was. So I'm going to post this picture right here, and the picture in the middle of me in February, I was 221 at that time. That was the beginning of February. That was right after I got the flu. I was 221. In the last picture, I was 220. You know, I was literally the same weight, but you can see how much of a difference there is in my body. It's huge. And I had no idea, because I was like stepping on the scale and seeing that I was still in the 220s, stepping on the scale and seeing that I was still in the 220s. So it just made me want to go harder, because I just wanted to get out of the 220s. Like, that's all I wanted to do, you know? So it just made me want to go harder. And when I put on that shirt, I was like, you know what? I know I have other pictures of me in this shirt. Let's do a compare and contrast. And I promise you, I was shocked. Like, I did not see it. I had no idea that there was such a difference in my body from February to, I think that picture was either the end of June or the end of July. I think it was the end of July. Like, I didn't see that coming. I was surprised, and I was like, whoa, this is amazing. You know, like, I definitely do not advocate for stepping on the scale too frequently, because it messes with your emotions. You know, you get on the scale, and when you don't see the number that you think that you should be seeing, or you're not seeing the progress on the scale that you think that you should be seeing, it messes with you emotionally. But if you haven't been taking pictures, if you haven't been comparing, then you're not going to realize that the scale is not the be all end all. Like, you probably will see better results looking in pictures or taking your measurements. I did take my measurements. I took my measurements at the beginning of July, and I haven't taken them again. I'll probably just wait until I finish this 14-day challenge. So it'll be like a 2-month difference. So I will probably take my measurements again in September, and I'll talk about it when it happens. Also, as far as me doing weigh-ins, I know that I said I didn't want to do weekly weigh-ins, and I'm not going to, because like I said, I do not want to get overly attached to the scale, because for me personally, it messes with my emotions. I don't really care that I have a body fat scale now. I don't feel comfortable stepping on the scale too frequently, because I know that it could really set me back. So I'll do monthly weigh-ins. For me personally, I'll do monthly weigh-ins. So I'm thinking I'll probably do weigh-ins the first Saturday of every month, so you guys will get a weigh-in at the beginning of September. Oh, sorry. I'm not posting videos on Saturdays anymore. So the first Sunday of every month, I will do my weigh-ins. And I'll just do it like that. I feel like that's better for me. It's better for my emotions, so that I'm not dependent on this number on the scale going down every single week. So I'm going to give you guys weigh-ins. It just won't be weekly. It'll be monthly. And so that's how I'm going to do it. Yep. So that's my story. That's what happened to me. And this is super long. So hopefully I'll be able to edit it down a lot, but I know that I did have a lot to say. So anyways, thank you so much for checking out this video, guys. Please give this a like, comment, subscribe, and share, because you never know who will benefit from the information that I'm giving in this video. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Bye.